Welcome to this session on placing columns using the length at end 1 method. Now, in a previous session, we used the column grid to model the columns at the grid intersections. Now we will use the method by length at end 1 to add some additional columns at the main entrance. The AccuDraw shortcut O will be used to offset the placement of the concrete columns. Check that the floor selector is set to ground floor. Select the Concrete Column tool from the ribbon. In the Property panel, set the catalog item to Example, Column, Concrete, Rectangular 2. On the Place tab on the ribbon, set the placement to Middle Center. Set the X and Y offsets to 0 and the base offset to -5 or -1500 millimeters. You can toggle off Interactive and set the rotation to 0. Now set the Place By method to length at end 1 and set the length to 20 feet or 6,000 millimeters. In order to set the size of the concrete columns, in the Place Column Property panel, expand the section name field and select the Parametric tab, then set the class to Rectangle and set a width and depth. The type ID should be Concrete Column, and you can change the item ID to C3. Also, set the ID name alternate to 14 by 14 or 350 by 350. This will be used as a label on the drawings. And set the phase to New Construction. In a top orientation view, zoom into the area of the column grid B1 near the main entrance. Now set your default snap to multi-snap 1. Then snap to the column at location B1, but before accepting that placement with a left click, press the F11 function key and then press O on the keyboard. This invokes the AccuDraw Set Origin shortcut, meaning the AccuDraw compass is relocated to the snap location. Now move the cursor towards the main entrance and press Enter to lock the AccuDraw axis. Key in the distance of 4 feet or 1200 millimeters to locate the new C3 column 4 feet or 1200 millimeters from the B1 grid location. A data point or left click accepts the location and places the column. Now move the cursor to the right and press Enter to lock the axis again, and then snap to grid line C, and data point or left click to locate the second C3 column for the main entrance framing. Now we can turn off the display of the architectural reference and finish our framing for the main entrance. So select the reference icon from the Common Tools group. In the reference dialog, turn off the display of the architectural reference. Next, we will place the steel columns by snapping to the top of the concrete columns rather than using the floor selector. So for this, ensure that the ACS plane snap lock is turned off. Select the Steel Column tool from the Structural tab. In the Property panel, set the catalog item to Example Main Steel Columns 2. On the Place ribbon, set the placement to Middle Center. Set all the offsets to 0. Toggle Interactive off, and then set the rotation to 90. Now again, set the Place By method to length at end 1 with a length of 28'6" or 8550 millimeters. And we can turn off automatic coping. Now we'll use the default values already set for this column. And this time we're going to set the default snap to key point and ensure that the Pro Structure snaps are enabled. Now we can snap to the top of the previously placed C3 concrete columns. Data point or left click at each location to place the steel C4 columns. In the next session, we will place beams between the columns using the place by 2 points method.
If you found this video helpful, please give it a like. If you want to see more such series, consider subscribing to our channel. Thank you, and see you next time.